Morty's familiar, pained cry was swiftly overwhelmed by a rapid, frantic rat-a-tat-a emanating from the roof, suggesting Rick was already embroiled in a chaotic struggle above their heads. Amidst a furious barrage of laser fire, a terrified pizza slice messenger with wide, desperate eyes dashed forward, yelling "SIR. Sir! Urgent news from the front." Rick's sharp command of "take cover" cut through the chaos as the frantic messenger struggled to deliver its vital message. The terrified pizza slice messenger let out a desperate GH as searing laser fire, braca braca, tore violently through its body, scattering toppings everywhere. Morty undoubtedly watched in wide-eyed horror, while Rick likely offered a cynical, detached remark on the efficiency of the weaponry. Amidst the lingering chaos, Summer cried out in panicked desperation, "Medic! We need a medic," as she gazed upon the fallen pizza messenger. Nearby, the burger character gasped, "Jesus!" And the hot dog let out a pained "HUNH," both reeling in shock at the grim sight. Despite Summer's previous panicked cry for a medic, the injured burger creature, bleeding and sweating, impatiently snarled, "Get me a goddamn medic." "No!" Summer, her own eyes wide with desperation and anger, promptly retorted, "Bunface. Are you deaf?" With a look of sheer desperation, Summer crouched low, trying to comfort the failing food creature. As its life ebbed with a weak GNG, she softly urged, "Shoo. Shoo. Shoo. It's okay, buddy. I'm here. Stay with me right here," her hand clutching its wounded form as if to anchor it to life. With a desperate gaze, Summer cradled the whimpering pizza creature's arm, softly reassuring it, "SHH. Don't try to talk, okay? Just relax." The bleeding, tearful creature struggled to utter a weak NN, its wide eyes filled with agony as Summer tried to comfort it. The grievously wounded pizza creature, barely clinging to life, reached out to Summer with a desperate plea, "General Summer? Is that you? Urgent message." Summer's wide, empathetic gaze reflected her growing alarm as she registered the creature's final, vital words. Summer, her eyes wide with a desperate panic, pleaded with the grievously wounded pizza creature, "What is it, Greastain? Tell me." The creature, struggling to hold on, could only manage a choked, tearful confession, their CCC cough, its words lost to its fading strength. The grievously wounded pizza creature, its X-marked eyes staring blankly, managed a raspy CC coming H through its lolling tongue. Summer, her eyes wide with dawning horror, could only utter a terrified "OH" in response to the grim warning. A thunderous kabush tore through the air, sending Summer reeling to her knees as the pizza creature exploded into gruesome pieces beside her. Clutching her throbbing head, a mix of horror and pain contorted her face, the terrifying aftermath searing into her memory. Engulfed in a cloud of dust and debris from the blast, Summer instinctively brought a hand to her face, her eyes squeezed shut in discomfort. A pained GH escaped her lips as the chaotic aftermath settled around her. Summer remained on her knees, dazed from the impact of the blast, as her burger-headed ally reached out in concern, asking, "General, are you okay?" Still disoriented, Summer could only manage a distraught bunface. The Taquitos, while behind them, the donut and hot dog soldiers continued their fierce assault. Summer gazed at her burger-headed ally, who, with wide, frantic eyes and hands raised, declared, "I'm sorry, General, but we can't go back now. There's no time." The urgency of his words, coupled with the panicked looks of their frybox and donut companions amidst the ongoing explosion, painted a grim picture of their desperate situation. Summer's expression tightened with fierce resolve, cutting off her burger-headed ally's frantic plea with a swift, powerful punch. Her fist connected with a resounding KRK, sending the ally's head snapping back as tears and mustard erupted from the brutal impact. Summer, turning her back to the grim scene, coldly commanded, "Find the time," leaving her burger-headed ally incapacitated on the floor. Her remaining food-themed companions looked on with a mix of terror and grim determination as the chaotic situation escalated. Summer, her determined gaze cutting back over her shoulder, delivered her final, urgent warning. Otherwise, we've already lost. Her unwavering expression left no doubt about the high stakes and the grim alternative. Summer, her eyes wide with a resolute fury, turned her intense gaze upon the remaining group. "And as for the rest of you, saddle up," she demanded, leaving no room for argument. Summer's determined eyes burned as she raised a makeshift flag, her voice ringing out with a furious rallying cry. "We've got a war to fight," she declared, her words igniting a fierce resolve in the motley crowd of sentient food items who roared their agreement around her. The smoke finally cleared, leaving a charred divot in the roof of Banana Bees, prompting Rick to slowly draw out a cynical Sue, assessing the immediate aftermath of Summer's furious rampage. The hiring manager, a man with a neatly trimmed mustache, paused his careful review of the application, a hint of skepticism flickering in his gaze. "Under experience with leadership and/or food management," you wrote. "Technically, yes. Would you care to elaborate?" he asked, patiently awaiting an explanation. With her arms tightly crossed, Summer watched the scene unfold, a familiar look of skeptical impatience etched across her face. Her wide eyes and flat mouth perfectly conveyed her utter lack of surprise at Rick's latest antics, yet a hint of growing weariness was also evident. Summer's gaze remained fixed, her arms still tightly crossed, a clear signal of her growing impatience. A hint of exasperation touched her lips as she continued to observe the unfolding scene. Beth, her arms tightly crossed, held a firm gaze as she delivered her resolute no, putting an end to whatever absurdity she'd been forced to endure. Her simple refusal seemed to close the chapter, marked by the finality of the end.